It hadn't been a nice day. Crowley could feel his insides twisting and turning. He was extremely nervous and he absolutely despised it. Demons weren't supposed to feel anything. Beads of sweat began to form on Crowley's forehead as he watched his idiotic husband walk onto a small stage that was lifted off the ground by a platform. Crowley let out a sigh. He sniffed and looked up at the people inside the tent. There were too many bodyguards to count. They crowded the small area and kept an eye out for any trouble. They were dressed all in suits with white coats, black ties, and black dress pants. Crowley felt like he was suffocating in this ridiculous outfit. He thought he looked like a fucking clown. Today was the day. The big day. The day that would set Armageddon into motion. The Antichrist's 11th birthday. Crowley and Aziraphale had been waiting for this moment ever since he was born. In exactly 15 minutes, Hal would deliver their own special birthday gift to their master, the Hellhound. Crowley knew that as soon as the Antichrist named the dog, the boy would come into his power and Earth would be doomed. Crowley glanced periodically at his watch. The seconds continued to tick away. There were about 20 children sitting on the ground. Some were staring up at Aziraphale, while others were either daydreaming or looking at their phones. Crowley's eyes fell onto the back of one of the boys' heads, Warlock Dowling, who was currently rolling his eyes at Aziraphale's pathetic attempts to entertain him. Warlock went by a few other names though, such as the Adversary, Destroyer of Kings, Angel of the Bottomless Pit, Prince of the World, the Lord of Darkness, and the most famous one, the Antichrist himself. 10 more minutes, Crowley thought, as he looked up at Aziraphale nervously. Keep it up, Angel. You're doing great. Crowley's gaze didn't leave Aziraphale. The demon bit his lip and inwardly chuckled at his husband. The angel wore a black suit with a tan undershirt and bow tie. He had drawn a comical mustache onto his lips, his blonde curls bouncing up and down, and the golden wedding ring that squeezed the skin on his plump finger glimmered in the sunlight. Crowley looked down at his watch again, but found that as his eyes drifted over to his own wedding ring, a small smile crept upon his lips. Silly angel, Crowley thought, as he flinched at the sound of a balloon popping behind him. You and your magic axe. What'll I ever do with you? For my next trick, Aziraphale began with a wide smile. I'll pull a cloth out of my nose. Oh, Crowley muttered under his breath. This'll be fun. When can we eat cake? One of the kids on the ground whined. Crowley looked daggers at the child's stupid hairline. Ungrateful little shit, Crowley's thoughts snarled as he let out a small cough. Leave him alone. This is so boring, another child chimed in. You'll get cake soon enough, Aziraphale chuckled nervously as he began to unravel a multicolored cloth from its container. You can have all the cake you want, after you've been thoroughly amazed. Bullshit, Warlock spat as he glared at Aziraphale. Aziraphale's lips tightened before he fell into a fit of laughter. He was almost finished with stuffing the cloth into his hand, and the angel's expression was flustered. Meanwhile, Crowley's insides were burning up. He had nothing against children, but this batch was being absolutely horrendous. Crowley couldn't believe how rude Warlock was being toward his husband. Didn't naniiebim teach him anything useful? Aside from, taking over the goddamn world. Right, Aziraphale said, as he continued with his next trick. Watch closely. The children all let out a collective sigh. which made Crowley want to bash his skull in. Didn't your mothers teach any of you little fuckers manners? Crowley's thoughts growled as he glanced down at his watch again. 7 minutes. Crowley bounced on the balls of his heels and caught a glance from Aziraphale, who had just finished up the cloth trick. Crowley felt like clapping, or at least possessing the person nearest to him, just to make them scream, yell, or shout something to boost the angel's confidence. Aziraphale looked like he was dying on the stage. Poor thing. Crowley couldn't bring himself to do a thing, though. It would cause a scene, and surely Hal would know about it. Hasta would never let that go. 5 minutes. For heaven, Satan's, somebody's sake, Angel! Crowley's thoughts screamed. Use a bloody miracle, Aziraphale. Aziraphale shot his husband a look as if to say, now, where's the fun in that, Crowley? 3 minutes. The time of the Hellhound's arrival was upon them. Crowley closed his eyes that were shielded by his sunglasses in an attempt to relax himself. He needed to think of something calming. He imagined Aziraphale, the principality in the same outfit he was currently wearing, and Crowley smiled to himself as he let his imagination run wild. The demon was standing in front of his flustered angel, as he stared into Aziraphale's blue eyes and began to undo his bow tie. Aziraphale placed his hands on Crowley's chest and sighed. The two weren't talking, just smiling at each other. Crowley continued to draw off the layers of Aziraphale's clothing, as Aziraphale followed by doing the same thing to Crowley. And then the angel and demon smirked at each other, before locking themselves into a passionate kiss. Their chilled skin touched as their hands ran through each other's hair, soft moans escaping their lips until... "You're rubbish!" Warlock exclaimed, clearly fed up with Aziraphale's antics. Crowley's eyes snapped open. He saw that Aziraphale was holding a rabbit and the kids on the ground were complaining. The demon's head flopped down toward his chest as he looked at his watch again. 30 seconds. Holy shit. Crowley's thoughts shrieked as his gaze never left his watch, the seconds continuing to melt away. Now almost all the kids were chatting, not even bothering to give the poor angel a chance to speak or perform more of his tricks. 3, 2... Crowley muttered through gritted teeth and nervous glances toward an opening on the side of the tent. 1. Crowley's watch read 3 o'clock. The demon could practically hear Hasta in hell announcing the order for the Hellhound to find its master. In the moments that followed, a massive cake-filled food fight ensued, and Crowley quickly left as Aziraphale looked around helplessly, getting covered in cake. Now, the two were safe within the Bentley. Crowley had just had a lovely little chat with Dagon, Lord of the Flies, as Angel and Demon realized that they had been looking after the wrong boy for all this time. The Hellhound had never showed up to Warlock's party, and they had lost the Antichrist. So, Crowley, Aziraphale huffed as he wiped a smear of cake off his cheek. What do you propose we do now? I have no fucking clue, Angel, Crowley muttered as he turned off the radio in the Bentley. We've really screwed up. Indeed, Aziraphale nodded. Don't lose all hope though, my love. Crowley groaned and leaned his head back. Aziraphale studied his index finger, still covered in cake, as he reached over and booped Crowley's nose with it. Crowley's eyes narrowed as he turned toward Aziraphale. What the fuck was that, Angel? Crowley asked. Before Aziraphale could reply, Crowley took the angel by the cheeks and trapped him in a kiss. Armageddon, the Antichrist, and the Hellhound could all wait. Right now, Crowley was only focused on performing his own magic for his beloved angel.